So I want to thank the school district and especially Rochelle for inviting us in to provide this information today. To Representative Cerisi, thank you for your commentary earlier. I'm going to talk about the importance of planning for higher education beyond high school, whether it's trade school or college. One of the things that I tell parents to consider and young people to consider is when you're in the planning process, gather your information in a central location so that your information isn't scattered all over the place. You want to make sure that you're very organized because it can get complicated, it can get frustrating at times in terms of the whole planning process, but having your information centralized is key. Some of the benefits of attending college or trade school: greater earning potential, more job opportunities, better employment benefits, higher job satisfaction, stronger job stability, increased benefits in your children's career as a parent, right? Heightened ability to make good choices, improved ability to communicate effectively. These are just a few of many other benefits of attending college, trade school, or some form of higher education beyond high school. Remember, it's key to think about your future now and start planning. The earlier you can start the planning, as early as 9th grade, so that you're not waiting until your senior year to jump on all of this information, the earlier, the better. Now, when we think about another reason why this whole conversation is important, it's economics. When we look at those who go on to college and those who do not, there's this chasm, there's this gap economically in terms of salary inequity. Those who go on to higher education, whether it's trade school, college, or some form of other higher education, those individuals typically make more money than those that do not. When you look at the chart, you'll see blue and green. The green represents the money level, the average money level that people make on a weekly basis in this country, versus the blue section represents the unemployment rate. When you look at the bottom, less than a high school educated person, less than high school education, they have the highest unemployment and they make the least amount of money. As you go up the chain of education, those at a 2-year college level or a 4-year college level and higher make the most money, and they have less unemployment. Now, nobody's immune from being unemployed, but statistically, you have a greater chance of job stability and you have broader career options with higher education under your belt versus those who do not. And the money is greater. When we look at selecting a college or trade school that's right for you, we have to look at certain things: affordability, campus safety, menu of college majors, distance from home. These are some things that go into a child or an adult deciding on what school is best for them. Internships and co-ops, those are huge programs that I advocate that all parents and students should consider in their selection of a college, because internships and co-op opportunities give a child real life work experience in their college major before they graduate. And most employers expect young people coming out of college today to have some form of actual experience under their belt before entering the workforce. And colleges that have robust internship programs and co-op programs are great choices. Also, traveling abroad programs and varsity sports and club activities, and whether I want to go to a small, medium, or large college. These are just a few of the things that go into consideration when you think about selecting a school that's ideal for your child. And here's the one that's a huge piece, on my radar, because I have 2 children, in college now. One will be graduating, going to college in the fall, is job placement. Does the school have a good track record in placing their grads after graduation in their profession? Because the bottom line of sending a kid to college or trade school is so that they can get the experiences, the knowledge, and under their belt, so that when they come out, they're job ready. And so looking at their placement rate of the graduates in the workforce and what those graduates are earning. That's a huge stat that I would encourage every parent and child to look at when you're considering the school of choice that you're planning to attend. And then when you think about affordability, I want parents and students to think about this. Community college is the best choice to start out. I highly recommend community colleges. If I had this information back when I was in high school, I would have probably gone to community college first. Here's the reason why. You want to graduate from college with the least amount of debt. Community college is affordable, and community colleges have a lot of support programs. So if Johnny or little Kathy is struggling academically, they have the remedial programs at the community college level to make them academically strong. Plus, they come out in 2 years. You're not spending an exorbitant amount of money and an exorbitant amount of time in school. You graduate in 2 years, you come out with your college degree, and you can enter into the workplace. Now, for those that want to go on to the 4-year college, right after you graduate community college, most community colleges have a long list of articulation agreements with 4-year universities. So when you graduate from community college, let's say you want to go to Temple, of all schools, right? You want to go to Temple, where I work. You apply to Temple, you get in. Now, this is what happens. You don't have to spend 4 years at Temple because you did your first 2 years at community college. So now coming in, you're coming in basically as an upperclassman. And now all you have to do is your last 2 years. So now you do 2 years of paying the tuition at the 4-year university, you graduate. In 4 years, you graduate with 2 college degrees, spending thousands and thousands of dollars less than somebody who went to the 4-year college who spent thousands and thousands of dollars more and who's coming out with more college debt. So I always advocate to parents and students, think about community college as your starting ground, because you're going to start off spending less money and then pursue your 4-year education. And then the chart that you see behind me, it gives you some resources on where you can research colleges, research where the money is, research information on what colleges might be best and suited for you based on your major. This website is from the Federal Department of Education, FAFSA. That stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is the website for the federal money that's free. It's taxpayer money that's been set aside for low-income homes, where I'm a low-income student or first-generation student and I'm looking for some extra assistance, I could go to this website, fill out an application, and compete for that money. And that's money you don't have to pay back, right? And then here in Pennsylvania, there's an organization called PHEA, the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. That's the state agency that has set aside a pot of money for low-income students to help them go to school. Because there's this big disparity in education funding where it's the haves and the have-nots. And for those that don't have a lot of money to squirrel away to help their kid go to school, this is going to be helpful. When we look at what colleges look for when they decide who gets in and who doesn't. So when we think about paying for college, grants, institutional aid, scholarships, work-study loans, and certainly employment are ways to help pay for a college. A lot of students are going through what's called a stop year, where because I can't afford college, usually that first year of college is taken care of through however mom, dad, and the kids scrape together the money, and that first year is usually taken care of. It's the subsequent years after that that usually challenges the students, and sometimes because of affordability, students drop out to work or to scrape up the money so that they could go back. Now, I tell kids, if you have a job that can help pay for your education, and again, going back to the community college option, you graduate in 2 years, you have your college degree, you go to work for a company that can possibly pay for your college education, then allow that to happen, and then you're working while you're going to college, but your job is helping pay for your college education. So that's an option to think about. And then here are some some private funding sources that I don't want you to ignore. Churches, even if it's $100, that's $100 I can pay for your notebook paper and other stuff, your laundry. Don't leave any money on the table. Scholarships, churches, employers, schools, sports teams, fraternity and sororities. These are private funding sources that can help contribute to you paying for your college education. And then these are the top 10 things that colleges look for when they decide who gets in and who doesn't. They're looking at a student's grade level at their school in terms of how competitive were they there, their cumulative grade point average, what were their standardized test scores, although some major colleges are getting rid of that. Some colleges aren't, even looking at that anymore. It's optional whether you take your SAT or ACT exam. Academic reputation of the high school, extracurricular activities is still a key factor in deciding who gets in and who doesn't. Strength of recommendation letters, college application essay, leadership and community service, and then major accomplishments. And some schools like Juilliard. Juilliard is one of the world's most famous schools for performing artists. So whether you're a dancer, musician, actor, etc., those kinds of schools may not look at a lot of this. Some of those schools put a lot of emphasis on auditions. And so for performing arts schools at the college level, like a Juilliard, this is what they're putting most of their stock in terms of who gets in and who doesn't, in an actual live performance or a pre-recorded performance of your performing art. These are 5 easy steps for the admissions process. Fill out an online application, write an essay, have somebody review your essay before you submit it, gather all supplemental information that's required, financial aid information, extracurricular activities you are involved in, recommendation letters, etc. Gather all of that to submit with the college application letter. Some colleges have interviews set up. Now that we're in the digital age, you could do some of those interviews by Zoom, but some colleges may have an interview requirement. And then wait for your acceptance letter. And now once you get your acceptance letters, organize your top 3. So let's say you apply at 5 schools. Organize your top 3 choices and then select from there. And that's it. And those are some of the things that I'd like you to consider as you start to formulate ideas and plans as to what you want to do beyond high school. Trade school and college are excellent pathways beyond high school. I wish you the best of luck, and certainly consider Temple University as one of your top choices. Thank you so much.